you learn Japanese through ChatGPT? That's the question I asked myself after I used it to learn for an exam a while back and actually got a decent result. So I just decided to try it myself and post it online for the world to see. To preface this, I'm neither a linguist, a teacher, or have some kind of other background that involves the analyzing or deep understanding of languages. So a lot of the conclusions will be largely based on my personal impressions and experiences. To start, let me show you which prompt I fed ChatGPT. I want to learn Japanese. My end goal is to be relatively fluent both in writing and speaking. I want the daily units to be around 25 minutes. 25 minutes should be enough time to go through one unit, but also to add to and revise my index cards. I want each daily unit to start with a quick revision of the previous day. The unit exercises should be presented in a chatting style, i.e., you ask a question and I answer, you correct if necessary, and ask the next question. For orientation, use the official CERF and GLPT guidelines. At the end of each GLPT level, create a mock test as a challenge before progressing to the next level. Now for the reasons why I choose to make the prompt the way I did. First, 25 minutes per day. According to the FSI, the Foreign Service Institute, and depending on the language, a person needs around 600 to 2000 classroom hours to reach professional working proficiency. Let's say you want to reach that level in 18 months. 600 hours in 1.5 years breaks down to around 1 hour a day. For around 2000 hours, it would be around 4 hours daily. While this may be realistic daily goals for someone who is learning the language full-time and doesn't have that many outside commitments, it is far harder for a person who, for example, has a job and children. In order to learn a language, consistency is one of the most important key points, at least in my opinion. If one is already exhausted and still needs to sit down 1 hour plus to hit their daily quota, this will soon rather demotivate them and they will start considering it as a chore instead of something that brings them joy. So keeping the daily time investment on the lower side can in some circumstances be more practical and sustainable long-term. Additionally, the average one-way commute time in the EU is around 25 minutes, according to statistics from 2019. So even on a day when you won't have the time to sit down and learn, you could use your commute time to revise some vocab or maybe try listening to a Japanese podcast. Second, chatting style. Instead of getting all the questions and tasks for the day in one swoop, I can concentrate on one question at a time, while the continuous switch between typing and reading helps me to keep engaged and not lose concentration. Last but not least, third, use the official guidelines. This helps the AI to keep some structure and orientation throughout the units so that the progression isn't too fast or that it won't accidentally skip important vocabulary or grammatical rules. So with all that out of the way, let me show you how the first went. Also, my ChatGPT is in German as it is my native language, which most of you probably have already guessed by my scuffed English pronunciation. So after I gave ChatGPT the prompt, it started to give me first an overview of all my ones and how it's gonna, in general, structure the units going forward. Then it followed up with like a little test where it tested me for my knowledge. I essentially skipped that entire part because I wanted to start from scratch. I do know some hiragana, so yeah, that's the only thing I really know. So yeah, yes, here are my answers. Right, then ChatGPT summarized in general how long a daily unit is going to be. Then ChatGPT started with Unit 1. It first did list the goals. The goals would be for this unit to learn hiragana, that I can greet someone and introduce myself, and that I understand how the Japanese writing system in general works. So ChatGPT also told me that I approximately will need 4 to 5 days, like 5 days. Little spoiler, this is not gonna happen. So yeah, then Unit 1, Day 1 started. It first introduced me to the 3 writing systems. It explained where and when hiragana is used, where and when katakana is used, where and when kanji is used. It also gave a little example. It also explained why there are 3 different writing systems, and then had like a little mini quiz for me to answer. Next, it started with the first few hiraganas, which was A, I, U, E, O, or A, I, U, E, O. So it told me the hiragana and how I should pronounce them. Right, it then asked me to list all the 5 and just to slowly speak them and pronounce them, just that I learned pronunciation. Right, I answered this. And then it officially started with the first group. Again, here are a few examples again. Again, a little task. And then you have a little summary for day 1. So we are already at day 2. And that's where the trouble started, because I always ask for like a revision of the previous day before we officially start the next unit. And as you can see, it completely forgot that. So yeah, I told it, hey, you should start a revision. And luckily, it then did. So we have the little revision from the previous day and started a new topic. And that is how to write the first hiraganas we learned the previous day. Anyway, this goes on. We have again the questions. We also have I didn't show this. We also have the first vocabulary here. So yeah, anyway, we are solving the questions. We have a little task. And we end day 2 with a little summary. So I skipped a bit forward because day 4 to day 6 were pretty much the same. We learned some new hiragana. We still haven't all. And then we reached day 7. And day 7, as you can see, ChatGPT started instantly with a task. We have no introduction to the new hiragana, which would be he, hu, he, ho. So yeah, I told ChatGPT that it should do that. And as you can see now, we have got the familiar structure. But yeah, that was a bit annoying and a bit random. So as you can see, we have already reached the end for this week. As you also can see, the 5 days for all the hiragana plus introduction increasing isn't really happening. We still don't have every hiragana right now. So yeah, we will need longer, apparently. We also had some mishaps, like day 7, the introduction was missing. On some days, the short, previous day revision was missing. I do hope that maybe the more often ChatGPT runs this, the more often it will work. I hope you enjoyed this first week. I will continue posting simply because it helps me keeping at it. It's like a self-motivator if I need to post. Yeah, I'm still sorry for my scuffed pronunciation. I also will probably have some issues with the audio, simply because it doesn't really work very often. I don't know if it's my mic, if it's my settings. Maybe I will figure it out until next week. So yeah, see you next week.